Jimmy Gold. Jimmy Gold.
Hello there, welcome to a Black Mass podcast. Do you feel like you're holding on for dear life? I remember I had my Corvette in Spain, and I was on this beautiful limited access highway, 6 lanes. It had that particular sticky asphalt the tires like to glue to, and had a slight downhill straight run. So I cranked her up, and I wanted to see if I could get 220 miles an hour out of it. 150, 160, things were normal. At 170, 180, the wind was pretty fearsome. When I got to 190, 200, I noticed that my back of the car was slightly lifting, and I went, I'm holding on for dear life and shutting it down. I didn't want to tap the brakes at that speed, and I didn't want to change gears, so I just wanted to kind of ease off. And I could remember holding on to Steel saying, oh God, please don't flip. I'll never ever do this again. So if you feel like that's what you're like in the oil trade, we're hanging on for dear life. We've been up and down and down and up and sideways in this damn thing, and it's very difficult. We are in another one of these bullshit artificial intelligence news scoop deal on this supposedly opening of the straits. Now, my belief is that if the straits are open, it'll be limited, and they'll close right back down again, because that is the only card the Iranians have to play. Now, as I was rolling this around in my brain and realizing the pain we're all in as it's going back and forth and back and forth, I wanted to run for you a scenario that I don't think I've adequately covered, and that is the fact that the straits are not the issue right now. If the straits open up and what few ships are there loaded get out, we've still got a cycle of months before the ships make it to their destination, offload, head back up to the Middle East to reload the oil. And I don't think you really realize how critical the oil supply is. And I've quoted you story after story and company after company that's warned about this surprise. Oil companies, I've also pointed out to you the crack spread. The crack spread is how much do you make for processing a barrel of oil. At the present time, oil companies that are in record profits, 10 and 15 times last year's profits, are cutting a fat hog in the ass, and they are making a killing. And I don't think you realize that although the market is at 78, anything about the moment under 80, in Brent at 75 in WTI, that's not the price oil's trading at. Those are the paper barrels. The oil companies are able to buy strategic supplies, but price them at the refinery at what the actual barrels are worth if they went into the open cash market. And that means they're pricing oil at between $150 and $200 a barrel, which is the right price. So what you've got here is an abnormality caused by huge stockpile reserves ever released. But oil inventories are being depleted at the fastest pace on record. And that's why you've seen the huge elevated prices for many products. Now again, I don't know if it seeped into your consciousness about how significant an event this is from an oil trading standpoint. Nature opposes a vacuum, and markets rush to fill mispriced commodities. Now, the reality is that oil flows are really not recovering, and we are at a critical supply situation. The market is short 2 billion barrels of oil, and that is a number that will take a year or more to make up. Let me explain why. The oil is not in the proper position. There are huge shortages around the world. By the way, America, with its vast oil supplies, is in the catbird seat, except for the problem there's been no refinery built for 30 years. But to give you an idea, 70% of the world's transportation, electrical generation, runs on fossil fuels. That's the ships, the planes, the trucking, heavy equipment, all run on oil. There's no batteries there. There's no alternative. Farms run on diesel fuel. Now, it's not just the diesel fuel and natural gas, because reality is we don't have enough oil. We don't have enough oil products. We have no fertilizer, no plastics. We can't make the vital computer chips. Everything that goes into your life in the world you know relies upon oil. There's no plastics. There's no chips without helium. No computer without epoxy resin circuit boards. No cell phones. No data centers, which are powered by natural gas or diesel fuel. So you're in a situation where I don't think the world understands how many products come out of a barrel of oil. There's no epoxy engines, epoxy resins to make modern jets. We're running out. Kevlar. Jet fuel is getting scarce all around the world. Launch a rocket? They run on a diesel-based RPI rocket fuel. Never mind the fossil fuels for the base binders for the solid boosters. There's no solar panels because they use EVA, which is a plastic derived from a barrel of oil, to seal the cells. Car batteries? There's no polymer for the separators. No epoxy to coat the windings on the electric car motors. No highways and roads because there's no asphalt. So you're looking at no jet fuel to fly planes. So you're looking at a crisis that is usually the case is little understood. No medicines, they need benzene, ethylene, propylene, toluene, ethylene oxide, name a few of the precursors. Your hospital runs on medical grade plastics. Everything from tubes and pouches. No PVC for pipes. no light sensitive polymers for chip manufacturing, no steel or aluminum production. They use a tremendous amount of fuels. So, as I've pointed out to you before, this moves you into a world and a crisis we've never seen before. The Straits of Hormuz sees a huge amount of oil going through it. But what people don't understand is some of the world's biggest refineries are there, and many of them have shot up and are out of production, and talking 12 to 18 months before they get back in production. So if you change the equation, and you can use one of Elon Musk's rockets to deliver the oil all around the world in a matter of days, you still don't solve the problem, because you've got the bottleneck of the refined products. So although we're getting our balls busted, reality is there's been no opening of the Strait of Hormuz, and we don't know what that opening is going to look like. There has been no oil flows. There's been no repairs to refineries and natural gas, and we're talking a year or two in the future in the best of circumstances. So they may have their little ditty, but in reality is the market's speaking loudly when you look at the refined products and you look at the profits of the oil companies and realize that products are being priced at an average of $175 barrel oil. We're looking at $150 barrel pricing for gasoline. We're looking at $175 pricing for diesel fuel. But we're looking at $200, $250 pricing for the critical refined products. Why? There are no refineries to replace it. The world's biggest refineries shot up in the Middle East are not coming on stream anytime soon. So no one's telling you, wonder why, that this is an ongoing crisis. In whose special interest is it to warn you ahead of time of an impending crisis? Have they ever done that? Have they ever done it accurately or fairly? And the answer is hell no. Politicians don't get politicized and don't get giving you bad news, unless it's bad news on the other guy. So reality you're facing here is that there's no way this problem resolves itself anytime soon. The oil shortages from Hormuz are significant. There's not enough ships or loading capacity to get the oil the hell out of there in any kind of quantities to make a difference. There are no enough ships to make the return voyage in a timely manner. So we're running on borrowed time. In this case, fuel and strategic reserves, which are running out. Timeline. Okay, we come into a sweet spot right now because we're coming to the end of driving season. So refineries now go into shutdown mode, but here's the deal. Because they're making so much money and because supplies are short, they're extending the production runs. Let me explain to you what that means. A refinery destroys itself. It needs rebuilding after every run of oil. The longer you defer the maintenance and keep the refinery going past the optimal time, the more damage you do, and the longer the turnaround time is to rebuild it. And because it's so lucrative, supplies are so tight, especially in countries like India that don't have their own measurable amount of oil, in a lot of the European countries, they're seeing a bigger price shock than you are in America. Now, as far as the runs of the critical materials that come out of a barrel of oil, it's a disaster. Farmers are not planning around the world. I mean, we're talking building to a food crisis, besides an energy crisis, and a medicine crisis, and a crisis to things down to car tires. which can't get carbon black, which is a scarce product from a barrel of oil, or synthetic rubber. So what I'm trying to present to you is that this is not a 5-day CNN breaking news wonder that resolves itself in Netflix six scheduled showing of the movie, okay? This is not a movie. This is not a joke. This is some serious shit. Now, I'll tell you what. We have prepared extensively, including upgrading batteries and fitting our solar systems and making sure that we looked at our model and made sure that any oil-dependent products like motor oils, which, by the way, are running short in supply, and batteries for cars and lithium batteries and regular batteries, and looking at our food supply and sources to make sure we can weather 2 years of oil shortages. How long can you go with the lights come out? You got a Generac generator? That's nice. Those machines aren't made to be 24/7 use. How long before the diesel fuel and natural gas runs out that supplies that booger? What about your car? How long can you go on your tires and your lubricants? How about gasoline and these diesel fuel shortages? What are you going to do when your F1 pickup truck, how you run that? So the answer is that if you take a really close look at your life, you're not even close to prepared for this. Now, if you're unfortunate and foolish enough to live in a city in one of those modern cave condominiums, you're screwed, blued, and tattooed. How long can you live in that building when the elevators aren't running? When the electricity's out? When the air conditioning's shut off? Can you even let you cook on your balcony? Do you have food storage? Where are you going to put it? Downstairs in your little cubicle in the parking garage? I mean, let's get real here. There was a time when every family had at least a year worth of food, which they stockpiled during the summer and ate on the winter. How much do you have? Now that freeze-dried, nitrate-filled poison shit they sell you on the conservative news channels, you can't live on that shit. It's a killer. So I wonder how prepared you are with real food and real energy alternatives. I've been through hurricanes and I've lost a lot in them. I can tell you the place where the hurricanes hit is still not recovered. The places where the forest fires have hit, still not recovered. There's no one coming to your rescue. There is no alternative food supplies. There is no alternatives to non-alternatives because no one thought through to buy it. No one thought through to prepare for an energy shock. I don't think people realize exactly how much shit the world's in. So I'm glad they're having a little ditty, and I'm glad that they're going to open the straits, but I don't buy it. And I'm glad that they want you to know that when they do that, all this ugliness will go away. But I'm not buying that load of crap either. Iran has had these negotiations, agreed to shit for 40 years, and has broken every deal it ever made. Is it going to be by some Cajun magic different this time? Are they going to go ahead and have a religious experience and decide on peace and cooperation? They're going to give up jihad and their religious fanaticism? Really? Do you really believe that? Do you really believe that mankind is ready to go to war with them? Toe to toe? Boots on the ground? Like I pointed out to you in many news stories, America's never lost a battle. But it's always lost the war in the negotiations. It's won the war but lost the peace. What is different this time? Now let me give you some projections. We've got oil trading at $78.59 in our favorite Brent. Our low was $77.24. Again, I see oil in the 70s. Do I see it going down to 68? Well, that would be a disaster if it does, but I don't think so. Could I see a $70 barrel oil as a firm bottom? Yeah. And I don't think we go that low. I think we're bumping along what could be an important bottom now. Because remember, the market is buying into the rumor. It tends to sell the facts, even if they're favorable. Everybody and their asshole brother and their donkey and their dog are all buying into this myth that oil is going down and that the crisis is averted. I don't buy that for a minute. And I know that if these straits are opened up, it doesn't solve this huge looming crisis. Look, the way the energy business works is forever changed. The straits will never be the same again. The Middle East refineries will never be capitalized like they were before. The oil market is going to diversify. Now, I'm not predicting a permanent energy crisis. But look, the North Sea shut down. By the way, England in abject poverty. They can't keep a bank governor. They can't keep a prime minister. And the reason why is they got no money. They can't make the budgets. And they're sitting on one of the vast oil supplies in the North Sea. In fact, they're buying their oil from Denmark that is on the poor side of the Dead Sea. I'm sorry. Yeah, see, my mind's working here. Huh? On the wrong side. And the problem is, British Petroleum has got the wells in, the pipelines there, and they won't give them the permits to operate. The North Sea would make Britain one of the wealthiest countries on earth if they would just harvest that. In fact, they reversed the flows. The pipelines used to flow from Britain to Europe. Now they flow to Britain. I mean, you got some of the biggest asshole politicians making decisions that don't know energy markets, don't understand business, believe this myth that, windmills and solar panels can provide the high voltage, high ampere needs to run a modern society, and they can't. There is no replacement for fossil fuels, not at the present time. And with Germany, they got no car company anymore. Volkswagen was one of the largest car companies in the world. Why? Well, those suckers use a lot of steel and a lot of electricity to stick spot weld all that shit together, and they got the highest energy costs in the world. They can't compete against subsidized electricity, fossil fuel based despite all the bullshit out of China. The world's coming unglued. Decisions that have been made are asinine. Your leadership doesn't exist. People that are making decisions are ridiculous. Look, your baby boomers, Xers, and Zers are all turning to socialism because that was the shit the liberal college educations taught them. They got no grounding in free enterprise, entrepreneurship. They got no grounding in democracy. And they're believing the great lie of all times. Something for nothing. Everyone who has nothing wants something. Everybody believes that some rich bastards got their money and that's why they're poor. Instead of waking up saying, are you working? Are you productive? Are you working hard? Or are you watching the clock? Oh, it's 41 hours. I got to go home now. Are you giving your all or are you giving nothing? And among the liberal lefty commies, they're buying into this crap. So it's a real critical time, because let me say this to you. There is better than a 70-30 chance that this oil crisis, if it blows up the way I think it's about to, will see to it that the world economy collapses. You don't need any data centers if there's no data. You don't need any artificial intelligence if there's no computing. If you're groveling on the ground for a potato, your cell phone ain't connected anymore. We're headed for a global, worldwide depression and war. Pretty obvious. World War II was caused by the Great Depression, the stock market crash, the debt wipeout. We're on the same road right now. I always look for the tipping point. What is the dart that bursts the bubble? Which one pops the balloon? And right now it's overwhelmingly energy. So we've got an oil crisis. The market is short the most oil I've ever seen. Excess reserves and emergency reserves are drying up. And we're 6 months away from rationing. Are you hearing me? But it's not just the oil. Okay, it's all the materials that comes from oil. Why? Because they're so cheap to make and they work so well. You remember when your hand tools had an aluminum zinc outer body? Your drills and all the parts, right? Plastic. Your egg beaters were metal, they're plastic. If you look around you, your life is built on products that come out of a barrel of oil. There's no more natural fertilization. The key ingredients necessary to fertilize fields comes out of a barrel of oil. There is no donkeys or horses pulling plows. They run on massive diesel engines. I went through the list. The one thing I want you to leave with this discussion is there is no alternative. And the straits open up doesn't solve the key issue, and that is lack of refined products. So, have a nice day. And remember that there's no market and no reward for the people in control to give you the bad news. Nothing. They're not going to tell you the crisis you face, especially coming with elections. They're not going to tell you about a crisis of their own making. So I'm warning you. Bad, big, ugly shit's coming. And you better be prepared for it. There's an energy crisis like never seen before. And the Straits, if you want to believe they're going to open up to free traffic, and you believe in this wet dream, that's fine. But even if that is true, we still got an energy crisis. Keep that in mind because your wealth and your health depend upon it.